story starts on chapter 2. Some pages filled, but most left blank for Mumsy to fill. And whereas it always made sense in the end, it just felt different because it was no longer him writing the story. He was supposed to be one of the authors of my life, but instead he scrapped up the story and started a new one. Then you showed up, picked up the scrapped story and started writing in it. And although you weren't sure if you were able to write or create a story, you still tried. Young, fresh out of your old norm, no longer behind your old imprisoned lifestyle, you didn't come with instructions or answers, but you came with a pen, a promise, and a heart big enough to try. When I annoyed you to your limits, you stayed. When I made you watch those same princess movies over and over, you stayed. When I tested you till you were about to break, you stayed. Writing new lessons into empty pages, you taught me how to grow. You were young, 24 to be exact, yet you still chose me, chose us, chose to be more than just temporary, chose not to start a new book till you were done writing this one. You chose to write a story I never knew was meant for me to hear. But I'm not just talking about the story as a whole, I'm talking about each chapter, like chapter 6, when you bought me my favorite stuffed animal, chapter 10, when you bought us our first official house as a family, chapter 14, when we discovered that pond we drive by on those car rides we love so much. Each chapter intricately detailed, you showed me that strength isn't only in muscle, and you proved that by staying. And along the way, you no longer were my stepdad, but simply just my dad, world's best dad to be exact, who taught me how to sing carelessly, knowing I was bad, who taught me the true amazingness that is every single Marvel movie ever made, and who taught me what it really means to have a song bring you back to old memories. No Lie by 2 Chainz featuring Drake. I would tell you what that memory is, but that's between us. But of course, I still wondered what his story would have looked like, what led him to his writer's block, and why he never tried finishing the story he made. But then I realized it wasn't writer's block. It's just that the story wasn't meant for him. Whereas you will one day become a New York Times bestseller, he will simply never know what it's like to have a completed book. You taught me that the author isn't who starts the story, but who stays to finish it. You were young when you stepped in. He was young when he stepped out. You never could have imagined how it would have been, but you figured it out. Maybe you didn't know how to be a dad at first, but I didn't know how to be the daughter of one. And although we had our ups and downs, we learned together. And as we grew up side by side, you were not only my compass, but my best friend, my gossip buddy, and most of all, you showed me what fatherly love really looks like. So as I'm starting to write my own story, I take inspiration upon your ongoing chapters filled with love, lessons, and most importantly, you. Because although this story started out as a thrown-out scrap, it'll end with your name front and center. The title of the story, you ask? The Great Adventure.